You want to know what Farage and Reform are doing on their rare visits to Parliament? They're voting against our Employment Rights Bill. They talk the language of workers' rights online and on the doorstep, but they voted against.
I've been his friend for a long time, and I wasn't sure, am I supposed to be his friend or not? But it never mattered to me if he did well or not. I always liked him, but it's easier to like him when he got the kind of votes he got. He really took it by storm, and they say he's going to do even better this time. Nigel Farage, where is...
When Kier Starmer decided to take a shot at Nigel Farage and his Reform UK party, he likely didn't expect such a heated reaction.
They want to charge people to use our NHS. They claim to be the party of patriotism, but they're fawning over Putin. No, they are not the answer for working people in Britain. And they are not the answer for Scotland.
The Labour leader has been outspoken about Farage's opposition to a key employment rights bill, accusing Reform UK of threatening worker protections. But here's the thing, Starmer's attacks seem less about policy and more about fear. With Farage's influence growing after Brexit's success, Starmer finds himself in a tough spot. Many believe he's increasingly worried as Reform UK gains traction, drawing support from those disillusioned with mainstream parties.
He spouts off like that. Most of the British people now, I think, abhor Labour. They abhor what they're doing. It's not about, workers' rights and everything. This country's got the most incredible workers' rights protections. In fact, employment law is now almost stopping people employing people simply because it's so complicated. It's far too weighted in favour of the employee, not the employer. And now Angela Rayner's just added another $5 billion onto British business with her Employers' Rights Act. Right. Equally, Rachel Reeves has just loaded up the private sector with huge tax increases, largely on employment. As you know, she's put up national insurance, but she's also reduced the threshold, which I don't think a lot of businesses yet understand fully, which is a straight tax on employment. So not surprisingly, you're seeing companies prepare for the tax rise, which happens in April, by cutting the number of people they employ. So I don't think these people understand anything. As you know, the 26 front-bench ministers, I think only 3 of them have got what I would describe as sketchy business experience.
Trump's response? He wasn't having it. The former U.S. president quickly called out Starmer, seeing it as a desperate move to counter Farage's rising influence. Trump reminded everyone of his long-standing connection with Farage, with both sharing similar stances on immigration and national sovereignty. He also suggested that Starmer's real motive was fear that Reform UK's growing support could seriously threaten Labour's grip on power.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you. What a great guy.
What's happening with Farage in the UK isn't too different from what we've seen with Trump in the US. Both are outsiders who challenge the political system, appealing to those who feel ignored by the establishment. So, when Trump defends Farage, it's more than an endorsement. It's a warning to leaders like Starmer that they're facing a force they don't know how to handle. Trump and Farage have always had a strong alliance, one built on shared beliefs about immigration, nationalism, and national sovereignty. Trump sees Farage's rise as proof that people are rejecting traditional politics in favor of those who put their country first. Farage fired back at Starmer, calling his stance on green energy and job creation out of touch and insulting to the intelligence of working people. He pointed out that Scotland alone lost over 70,000 jobs due to net zero policies. His message? Starmer doesn't understand the real struggles of ordinary citizens. The parallels between Farage and Trump are undeniable. Both advocate for strict border control, seeing unchecked immigration as a threat to national security and public services. Their supporters believe this approach is about reclaiming control and protecting their country's identity, while critics argue it's too extreme. And they're not alone. Figures like J.D. Vance in the U.S. are joining forces with them, pushing back against government overreach and defending free speech. Their movement is growing, sending a clear message. National identity, sovereignty, and strong borders must be prioritized. Starmer is now caught in a dilemma. He needs to maintain Labour's traditional working-class base while navigating the growing appeal of populist movements. If he criticizes Farage too much, he risks alienating voters who are drawn to Reform UK's vision. But ignoring him isn't an option either. Then there's the challenge of dealing with Trump. While Starmer openly attacks Farage, he treads carefully with Trump, knowing that UK-US relations post-Brexit are crucial. His strategy is clear. Distance Labour from right-wing populism but avoid damaging ties with Trump's supporters. Farage's rise signals a wider shift in global politics. The populist wave that brought Trump to power is gaining momentum in the UK and beyond. People are rejecting the status quo, looking for leaders who promise to put their country first. As the influence of Trump and Farage continues to grow, the pressure on traditional parties like Labour is mounting. Can Starmer adapt to the changing political landscape, or will he be left behind? The battle for the future of politics has only just begun.